goodbye to the grocery store and hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipes. Limited time, $30 off your first box. Free shipping to HelloFresh.com/Colin. I don't like the term fake news. I know journalists, they work hard. They're crucial to our democratic society. Our democracy needs them. Our democracy needs journalists. I don't believe in fake news. I don't like the term when it's used by anybody, but I do think the media has biases and agendas because they're human. And it's not just about what they write. It's what they cover and what they don't cover. That's something to always remember about journalists. It's not just what you read or what you see. It's what they choose to cover and not cover. So Jerry West, 80 years old, all-time great, the logo, former Laker, a remarkable career, still looks fantastic. I don't know what the guy's drinking or eating, but he looks fantastic. He was at the All-Star game this weekend, and he loves the NBA and thinks it's going nowhere but up. He said this.
Years ago when I came to the city of Los Angeles, we were nobody. And last page of 2 newspapers, had no writers, no coverage at all. And to see the way this game has changed and grown, and to see the strides that have been made for people who truly were able to contribute a different way is truly remarkable. I'm going to say this. I don't like to say things that are controversial at all, but this game is going to overtake all the other sports.
All right, I don't think it's controversial. It's his opinion. I think he's wrong for a lot of reasons. Football's got fewer games, more urgency. It's the sport we bet. It's the tailgate sport. Games are events. There's fewer of them. They matter more. The Harris poll is something I rely on annually. It is a political and sports polling company. They probably do more polls, but I trust them. They do rolling polls throughout the year. I check on it every couple of years. Here's their latest polling. NFL, 37% of Americans call it their favorite sport. Basketball has surpassed baseball, good for it, up to 11%. Soccer, by the way, has surpassed boxing, hockey. They're now 4th. Football, by and large, is Italian food. Everybody samples it. Pasta, pizza, it's your first, second, or third favorite food. Basketball's more like sushi. People who like it love it, but there are a large number of people who just don't want to eat raw seafood. By the way, soccer is the vegan diet. Soccer fans and vegans are absolutely sure they're much smarter than you. But let me say this about basketball. The media loves it more than the public does. And I'm an NBA guy. NFL 1, NBA 2. The media likes it more. And here's why. Because the NFL is powerful. It is the #1 TV show on 5 networks. Silicon Valley's bidding on it. And the media, and I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, opposes power. The media never wants too much power in one person or one company or one industry's hands. So there is an anti-NFL component to the American media. The underdog is the NBA. It's growing. It's young. The media likes that more, protects it. And I'll give you an example. A story was broken last night by Sports Illustrated showing a frightening and corrosive culture within the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban, in my opinion, is at least partly responsible and probably more than partly. It is getting very little media coverage. 2 months ago, a similar story came out on Jerry Richardson of the Carolina Panthers. It jumped to the top of every website, blog, and sportscaster's opinion. The NFL's the bad guy. The NBA's the little guy growing and threatening the big guy. It's not just what they write or broadcast. It's what the media chooses to cover and not cover. Read the story on the Mavericks. And imagine if that was an NFL franchise and how it would be treated by the American media. Christine with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
The Warriors have had the best record in the NBA for 3 consecutive seasons. Right now, they're a half game back of the Rockets for first in the NBA. So it's very possible they could finish again with the best record. But Kevin Durant and Draymond Green are both saying that they don't care about being at the top of the regular season standings. And why should they? I think that's really important. Remember that the season where they had the 73-game record and they were tired and kind of broken down by the end of it. There's no point. When you know that you have a really, really good shot, really good odds at winning the finals, who cares?
This is what I say about LeBron's Januaries. It's what I say about the Warriors. This is why the seeding is problematic. Everybody's talking about this new playoff seeding thing. This is exactly the problem. It's because the good teams in this league don't give a rip about regular season seeding because they have better players and they don't get to a Game 7 in a playoff series. So if the Warriors drop to a 2 or a 3 seed and Houston drops to a 4 or 5 or San Antonio, they can face each other in the first round of the playoffs, thus knocking each other out. This idea that to fix the playoffs, we got to go 1 through 16 seeding. This, what the Warriors admitted yesterday, is the problem. Is that when the Spurs had Tim Duncan, and for 12 years they were the best organization in basketball. They never cared about the number 1 seed. They were the first team to rest players, so they were never a number 1 seed. Don't buy into this 1 through 16 seeding argument. This is exactly the problem. The best teams don't care about the regular season and mail-in nights, and the seeding gets all screwed up. So you could have the Rockets facing the Spurs in the first round of the playoffs. That's not good for the league. You want to see those teams in the conference finals and later in the playoffs.
So how would you fix that?
Keep it the exact way it is. So if the Warriors do fall to a 2 seed in the West, they still play a 7 seed, get rid of them, and the Warriors maintain playoff.
And what do you not want?
1 through 16 seeding, which is now being discussed. So you just jump them all together, 1 through 16, and they're doing that because if LeBron goes west, the NBA's like, oh, crap. ESPN and TNT are saying, we're not taking...
I like 1 through 16.
It doesn't work. It's a myth. You're going to get the...
How do we know it hasn't
because of your story. They're telling you we don't care about seeding.
No, we don't care about seeding, but still the 2 teams who should be the best in the West are the best in the West.
Now,
so even though they don't care, and even though Cleveland doesn't care at certain times, they're still going to finish at the top of the East.
They're going to finish 3rd. But the problem is, if you put them 1 through 16 and they ended up...
So the difference between a 1 and a 3 isn't that bad.
You do if you add them together. You become a 6 seed. And then all of a sudden Minnesota's... You could end up having in the first or second round, like the T-Wolves and LeBron. You want to see the T-Wolves go as far as they can.
I'm not with you on that one. I like 1 through 16. I think it should be done. The artificial deadline for Le'Veon Bell, and ever since he was on the show and told us how to correctly pronounce his name, now I can't, and I was pronouncing it right before, so I don't know why that got in my head. But the artificial deadline for the Steelers and Bell to reach an agreement on a long-term deal has passed. It was yesterday. Today is the 21st. So now they have the option. They might tag him, and they would have to pay him $14.5 million if they tag him. And remember, he said that he would contemplate retiring if he was tagged.
He won't retire.
No, I mean, hopefully he'll use it as a negotiation tactic. Last year he was tagged, and he sat out for quite a bit and then came back. But maybe he can use it as a negotiation point.
I understand Le'Veon Bell's argument with the franchise tag better than Kirk Cousins, who appears dismayed by it, but could make $34 million as the 17th best quarterback in the league. I think if you're average in an industry and somebody offers you a short contract with outrageous money, you take it. Le'Veon Bell's great, and you could argue he deserves to be the highest paid back in the league. I get that guy saying, I want a longer deal, I'm great. But that I can get. That's an argument I could, as an agent, I would buy into.
Just back-to-back one-year deals, that's just not, you wouldn't want to do that.
If this company paid me 70% more than I was worth.
14.5 isn't 70% more than Le'Veon Bell's worth.
No, I'm just what I'm saying. Kirk Cousins complains about it.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins should make $18 million a year. They're going to pay him $34 if he gets franchise tag. Dude, take it and don't complain. That's an outrageous number for Kirk Cousins. That's like paying a weekend sportscaster Bob Costas money. It's like when you're average and you're getting paid great, Le'Veon Bell's great and wants to be paid longer. That argument I get.
Well, job stability. Yeah, job stability.
Well, you're a running back. They get hit a lot.
Exactly. And speaking of tags, so Kirk Cousins could be with the Jets, and they could pay him $60 million in 2018. This is because they could offer him a front-loaded deal that's worth $60 million. And it would leave them still about $30 million in cap space this year, so they could build around him. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. That's a lot of money for Tom Brady.
$60 million guaranteed.
It just feels like it really does feel like a desperate move. Does it not, Goulet? Like, that's just the Jets being the number 2 team in the city and just being.
But if you think about it, you're going to offer $60 million guaranteed over the length of a contract anyway. So it might not be more money. It might be a way of just reaching the cap floor without signing a bunch of other bad deals.
That's a lot of money for Kirk Cousins.
But you know what? That's the way the system works, right? Sometimes it benefits the team, sometimes it benefits the players. Good for him.
All right, Christine News.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Good stuff today.